we live? Woohoo! Welcome to Off the Record, and guess what? It's live.
Yes.
We're on
What's
the
going on,
internet. How you doing?
Good.
Today we're joined by Zakk Wylde.
Oh my.
That's right. I am so excited. When I was a child, I played as you on Guitar Hero, and that was a huge formative part of who I am as a person today.
Again, you kick my ass all the time.
Yeah. All right. Wow. I
got
had so many childhood friends I got to send emails to later.
Very cool.
This
Well,
just
very
happened.
good. Very good.
But yes, this is Off the Record Live. Thank you for tuning in at home. If you haven't subscribed to American Songwriters Twitch is the website you're on right now. And I'm pretty sure subscribing is pretty easy. There's going to be some kind of button right beneath us. All you got to do is hit it. Or do we have a goal that we're trying to reach today, Michael?
We're trying to hit like 870 today.
We're trying to hit 870. So help us get there. We'll be appreciative. And we've got a great show today. Zakk is here talking about...
Let's not push it.
we have verifiably a show that we're going to be doing here today.
All right, show. All right, here we go.
Zakk's band, Black Label Society's got a new record, Doom Crew Inc., which is coming out November 26th.
Oh, yes.
We're going to talk about that record. We're going to talk about kind of how the past year or so has been in your life, just kind of what you're up to now. But first, we're going to do some icebreakers. We're going to break the ice here. And we're going to start with kind of a timely question, considering that it's November 1st. Yesterday was Halloween. How was your Halloween? What did you do?
We rocking. We rolled with the Nashville, Tennessee chapter. Yeah, no, it was great, man. Last night, yeah, we had a gig last night, and it was awesome, man. Oh, a great way to celebrate it. If I'm not out rolling with a Sabbath Page or a little guy, going trick or treating with all the kids. But no, it was great, man. We had a great time last night.
Did you dress up?
Look it, I'm still dressed up, man.
Yeah.
every day's dressed up for me, man. But no, last night, we just did the show. I didn't, I think dressing, just being me is pretty silly enough. So, I mean, I just go as me.
Dressed up like Zakk Wylde?
Yeah, everyone just because you look like a moron, dude. I can thank you. This is,
there you go.
Natural.
Oh my gosh. What was the first Halloween you remember? Like, what's like early Halloween memories?
I remember talking about like going as people's musicians that you like. I remember dressing up as Elton John.
Really?
Yeah, well, Elton John was my guy. I mean, so like when I was like 8 years old. So, but yeah, dressing up as Elton John, I remember doing that one. And I'm trying to think what other ones. But in a pinch, if you got to go, I remember one as Petey the dog from like Little Rascals. Yeah, I just put a black thing around my eye. They were like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "I'm the dog, bro." The dog. They're like, "Wow, really put a lot into that outfit."
You didn't get it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my god! Do you have like a picture somewhere of Elton John?
I think I have it at the house somewhere. But I had like I used Elmer's glue and I put it said Elton across my shirt and all and I had the glasses on.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. That is fantastic. What time do you wake up in the morning? What's your morning routine like?
Well, it depends. I mean, obviously during the Animal House years of Black Label, going to bed would be about 7 o'clock in the morning. That would be normal. But I mean, now it's usually I'm getting up at about, when I'm home or we're not on the road, I'll get up at around like, I'll get up when the sun's coming up, 4 o'clock in the morning, 3, 4 in the morning. Like I like getting up early. Have a couple of Odin Force playing and everything like that. But no, when we're on the road, after the shows and everything like that, I don't hit the sack until about maybe 3. So, I stay in there and I have to get my beauty sleep, and then as you can see, and then, then I, figure out how I'm going to paint my toenails to match my fishnet stockings and, match my rouge.
It takes time.
And my eyeliner. Time. Yes, exactly. So a lot goes into this, as you can clearly see.
Well, when you are home, and you said sometimes you'll get up from the songs, do you work in the morning? Like, is that like a creative time for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as like writing songs and everything like that, I mean, like the way I usually roll, I mean, like I said, we were talking about before, the home studio, the Black Vatican and everything like that. Even though I have a studio, it's not that I live and breathe in there and like every day I'm tracking songs and ideas and stuff like that. Usually when it comes time to like make a record, and it's just like one of the guys coming out, like my wife will just say to me, we're going to start working on another record. I said, well, one of the guys coming out. She was in about a month from now. So I go, all right, I got a month to make a record. So, then I used to start writing. So for me, I'll go out every day and sit in the garage. I got like a gym out there, and I got my amp out there, and I'll just, I got it set up so it's got reverb on it in the way, so it sounds like I'm in Madison Square Garden all by myself. So it just sounds slamming at a low volume, and I'll just start writing riffs. Because for me, with Black Label, I mean, especially when you're doing hard rock or everything, to me, it's like the song always starts with a riff. I mean, so, you have Mount Liftmore, which is basically Cream, Mountain, Zeppelin, Sabbath, Deep Purple. So, like, if you can't get inspired by those 5 bands, as far as, like that's a Mount Olympus of riff writing. So it's just, no, it could be on 1 string, it could be on 2 strings. You know what I mean? It's just like, for me, it always starts with the riff. You have to have a riff, and then that usually pretty much will inspire a melody. And then for me, it's always like the lyrics is last, and then once all that's done, then when we're recording, the solos are always last. And the solos always have to be like a song within the song. Like that's the Randy Rhoads school of solo writing. Like it's like Stairway to Heaven or Hotel California. It has a beginning, a middle, and end. Or Neil Schon, it's great. It's just there's melody, then there's a middle, and then at the end, you put on the afterburners and you put a fast part in there or something if you want. But I mean, you just can compose it and construct it. So, which is always it's fun. But as far as the writing and stuff like that, I mean, like I'll write stuff sometimes when I'm on the road or something, like mellow stuff or like a Wild Horses type things. You know what I mean? But no, I mean, you can come from anywhere. But usually it's just always when I know I got to make another record, then it's just like this implosion of writing.
Ooh, wow. Well, I have some follow-up questions about your writing process that we'll dig into later. And I'll say, too, that if you're watching at home and you have any questions about the process, too, please keep sending them in. We've already gotten some, but we will be digging into audience questions soon. Wow. Well, onward with our icebreakers. Texting or calling?
Mostly texting. I think everybody does, because it's the least painless root canal version of communicating with people nowadays. I just wonder, I'm like, why doesn't anyone want to talk to me anymore? They go, we don't like you, okay? So it's perfectly obviously clear. I don't even get texts, not even from my wife or kids. So, not even the dog. But no, probably texting though, man. It's just quick and just get it over with and that's it. But I mean, I'll still talk on the phone.
Okay. Do you use emojis when you text?
Yeah, of course.
What's your most used emoji?
I'm trying to think. My man root or something. Anything like that.
All right. Yes, the eggplant.
Yes, that's always a good one.
All right. If you could instantly.
Eggplant tastes great, anyways. I like it. Eggplant parmesan, stuff like that.
Oh,
so,
there's a million great ways
use it for
you can
various
have it.
reasons. Yes, exactly.
Oh, yes. Oh,
very useful emoji.
A godly symbol.
I'm not talking about sex. I was hungry. I was wondering what we're having for dinner tonight. You know what I'm saying?
It's not your fault. Everyone
get
just
very
assumes.
confused as well.
Yes,
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. There's just such a strong mental connotation. They have a hard time.
It's disgusting.
Okay, well, if you could become an expert in anything instantly, what would it be?
I already am one. And that's how to annoy JD in our band. I just pick up a guitar and just play anything. He's instantly annoyed. So yeah, and he gets violently ill too. That's why he can eat anything he wants. He can't hold anything down, so he never gains any weight. Yeah, so doesn't matter what his diet is.
Hey, you get pros and cons, up and down.
Exactly.
All right. If you could have,
and with me, it's all con, bro. It's
all
just,
con.
Yeah, all bad. Nothing great.
Not the upside, but you're making it through.
Yes, exactly.
That's right. It's the enduring that gives you the character. It's how you can dress like a costume every day.
Exactly. That's right. You just roll with it.
If you could have a candid conversation, like they're gonna answer any question you ask, no holding back with anyone, living or dead, who would it be?
All right, that's it's a lot of guys, I guess, in that regard. I guess,
give us the crew.
I mean, you're all your musician heroes. I mean, then you got like General Patton and stuff, people like that. Trying to think, I mean, obviously, St. Rhodes. You got Randy Rhodes just got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so it may be great sitting and talking with him. But Jimi Hendrix. I mean, all those kind of guys. But yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I think there's just so many people that have affected your life in a positive way. That aren't with us anymore. It would be great to sit and talk with them.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. General Patton, that's a really interesting one.
Without a doubt.
Murdered or accident?
Oh, you don't know.
Who knows? Big one. Okay. All right. I like this one, but it is. I always have the caveat.
But his mindset still lives on. The Patton.
The American spirit personified in
Yes.
so many ways.
Be a man.
Yes.
That's
Yeah. There's a reason.
No one likes hearing you
resonates.
complaining. Just be a man.
Yes,
I do that every day when I have to match my nail polish with my
with your fishnets, and then
I
yes,
go for my anal bleaching appointments, because it's all about sex sells. You know what I mean? It's not the music anyone's listening to anyway. So carry on.
That's right. And we've got Sex sitting in the studio with us
I don't
today.
complain about any of it. Just be a man.
There you go. Oh my gosh. Okay, what is your cell phone wallpaper?
Just Black Label Society. Just so I remember what band I'm in.
There you go.
Yeah,
Well, when you're going between the anal bleachings and
whether I'm playing with Oz or Generation X, Experience Hendrix, Zach Sabbath, any of these things, Then hopefully now I'll be in Britney Spears' backing band soon, at this rate. So, anything.
There you go. Oh my gosh.
The music business isn't what it used to be. You do what you take what you can get.
That's right. In between your nail polish appointments.
And that's a success to a successful marriage as well. I'm 30 plus years in already. So, you get it when you can.
Take notes. Okay. All right. What is your favorite kids movie or like a kids TV show?
Well, I think, because we have 4 kids. So, so now obviously with the older ones, they're 29, 28, and then you got 19, and now Sabbath's 9. So, it's kind of interesting because we've gone through all the movies with all 4 of them, which is pretty interesting. So, I'm just saying, obviously the Christmas movies like A Year Without Santa Claus and stuff like that,
yeah.
those are always awesome. So, and you can live through it with each one of the, each one of the kids, we've lived through it. So, that, and then, obviously Gene Wilder with the, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the original one was like phenomenal. So, stuff like that. And then, now with the children's movies, I enjoy, we introduce them to The Exorcist. So they really enjoy that one, So it's just like, and but that's to me that's family fun at its best right there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And,
You got the
and with each
evolution.
one of the children, the results have been just as devastating.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. Yeah, The
There you
Exorcist though. Yeah, that's what I go with. Right after Willy Wonka, we just hit him with The Exorcist. You just want to ease them in,
The natural progression of
Yeah, you
life.
don't want to hit them too hard.
aging.
You don't
Oh
hit
my
them too
gosh. Oh
That's
my
good
gosh.
parenting. You just you ease them into it,
There you go, and then they arrive. What is something on your bucket list that you haven't done yet?
I'm trying to think. Because people always ask, it's just like, Zakk, if you could be in any band, what band would you want to be? I go, I'm already in it. I'm doing what I want to do. You know what I mean?
If I wasn't, then
Yeah,
something would be wrong.
I don't know. I guess my bucket list would just be continue doing. I thank God every day for everything I have and that I'm breathing when I wake up in the morning. I thank Him for that. So it's just, no, I'm truly blessed. I get to do what I want to do and share with the people I love. So, I guess the bucket list, I'm already doing it. And I guess would be continue doing what I'm doing. And that's annoy JD and
Yes.
playing solos that irritate him.
Yes, you're an expert.
I love making him puke. Well, that's awesome.
Hell yes. That's what it's all about. Oh my gosh. Okay. What was the first record you ever bought with your own money?
I think it would probably, I'm trying to picture, I know certain records that I ended up getting, but first albums I wanted to get was Elton John's Greatest Hits, because I saw him on Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds in 1975 on the Sonny and Cher show. I was 8 years old. And I remember like the power of music. I was just like, wow. I was just like just mesmerized just watching that. So, but it was and after that I was like a huge Elton John freak though. So I still am. So, but the whole thing is seeing that. So it had to be Elton John. But I remember it was just like, oh, I remember telling my buddy Scott Smith, and he had older brothers. And it was the Smiths. They had 11 kids, 6 boys, 5 girls. Everybody always asks, they go, oh my God, are they Catholic? And I go, yes, they are. But then the whole thing is, but yeah, but I remember Scott was my age. He was the youngest. So he was like, we were like about 11 then. But I remember his oldest brother was like 44. But I mean, the parties over at that house during the holidays, out of control. But I remember going over there going, oh, I just heard Elton John. I remember back then, I go, well, yeah, I heard him do Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. And his older brothers were like, idiot. That's a Beatles song. So they beat me profusely. And then it was like after that, my first Bond experience was with, was Roger Moore. I was like, man, we just saw, James Bond. It was amazing. Roger Moore's awesome. They go, Sean Connery's James Bond. And they beat me profusely again. So this was pretty much everything that I was introduced to. It was pretty much had been done before, but I got it the second time. That was part of my education. But no, but it was Elton John, definitely. But then I remember after that it was, I guess, Black Sabbath. I remember we had seen, I was in art class. It had to be like when I was about 11 years old. And my one buddy, Tommy, he had this skull, this jawless skull. It pretty much was just Scully with a black label that we use now, the jawless skull. And it said Black Sabbath 666 and had a lightning bolt going through it. I was like, oh, wow, what's that? That was really cool. And he says, oh, it's this band my older brothers listen to. It's called Black Sabbath. I'd never heard of it, right? So, but just based on that, I just was like, I got to check out this band because it looks cool. So I remember we were at the mall. And my mom was like, you can get a record, So I was like, oh, okay. So being a scumbag, I ended up buying, getting the double album. We sold our soul for rock and roll. And so, so I, try and calm my mom into that. It's one record, you know what I mean? But anyways, so all I remember is getting home, opening up the gatefold, and, I was like terrified looking at that. And then when I put it on the record, I was beyond terrified when I heard the record. But when I had to introduce Sabbath at a Lifetime Achievement Award, one of these classic rock awards. And I said, I was Catholic when I first put the needle on the record and just became terrified. By the time I got halfway through the album, I became a full-blown Satanist. And then by the end of the album, I converted back to Catholicism just so I could thank God for creating Black Sabbath. And it's a true story. And it's quite the production, but I go through it every time I listen to Sabbath.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow. Well, in the same realm of kind of these musical memories, I guess you actually mentioned it earlier, your first concert. Well, what was your first concert?
The first real concert I actually saw was at the Philadelphia Spectrum. And in Philadelphia, it's Philadelphia Spectrum. In Kansas, it's not Philadelphia Spectrum in Philadelphia, but like it was on the Mob Rules tour with Ronnie James Dio in Sabbath at the time. So, and I remember just being blown away. So, I mean, that had to be like 1981. Wow. So, it was pretty crazy, eventually then playing the Spectrum with Ozzy, so that was pretty much a mind-blowing experience. So, and playing in the band, playing with Geezer, who I saw play that night, so pretty mind-blowing experience. But yeah, my first ever concert was the Philadelphia Spectrum with Black Sabbath. But I remember, we all snuck up, with my one buddy Anthony, out of Lizzie. He ended up getting we took the bus to the Spectrum from New Jersey. And we got there, and I remember we slept on some girl they knew or whatever. We all knew she was older and stuff like that, but we ended up sleeping in her apartment on the floor or whatever because we missed the bus on the way home because we got out late from the gig and everything like that. So, but all I remember is Anthony wasn't supposed to go to the concert. And I remember his little brother, when he was calling him on the phone, he goes, when you get home, Dad's going to break your legs. And I just remember that, so, and his little brother laughing his ass off because he's a little brother and he gets picked on. So I can't wait to see Dad breaking your legs. But yeah, but it was worth it to go see Sabbath. So it was a great, mind you, it was a great concert. For Anthony, I don't know how it worked out when he got home. But, we didn't see him for about 6 months in school, but after that, but anyways.
Oh my gosh, yes, there you go. Wow. Well, I have one last kind of icebreaker question for you, but that is,
have you played the Guitar Hero with you in it? And if so, what's your favorite song to play?
No, I was horrendous at the game, but I mean, but the whole thing is, but I remember when they started doing all the Guitar Hero video games and everything, and I remember like somebody going, "Oh, this is the worst thing." I go, "How can this be a bad thing?" I go, "This is great." I go, "Because all this is going to do is it's promoting guitar, so how can that be bad?" Because like you never know, you're going to get the next Jimi Hendrix, Eddie Van Halen, or Randy Rhoads, or Alan Holdsworth, or Joe Pass coming out of this thing just because they started with the video game. And they're like, and that got them into the real thing. You know what I mean? So,
Oh, yeah.
Well, and all it is just win-win. You know, and then not only that, you're finding out about all these bands that were on it at the time, whether it was Mountain, Leslie West, or Zeppelin, or Sabbath, or what. You know, you're like going, oh, wow, this guy, Tony Iommi's amazing. You know, like I'm saying for a 14-year-old kid, finding out about who Tony Iommi is or whoever. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's just, I thought it was great when it came out. So it's just,
Absolutely. Yeah, well, that was my experience for sure. I'm a testament of that. I was probably about 10 when it came out. And yeah, it totally like changed my
it's a
whole
good
world.
time. And then, like you said, you start getting better and you go, dude, I think I'm going to guitar lessons or whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
because you're like, oh, this.
Yeah, it's cool.
I need to chase a dragon now. I got to learn how to play it.
Then you see all the girls coming around, you know, and you go, now I can get a girlfriend, I can get gonorrhea, syphilis, herpes. This is awesome.
All
I
of
love
these
it.
Things. Yes,
Yeah,
it unlocks it
totally.
all.
It's
Oh
awesome.
my
I love
gosh.
it, you know.
Wow. Well, those are the icebreaker questions we got for you. But now, Catherine, our wonderful moderator, is going to give us some fan questions.
What do you got, Kath? Lay it on me.
Come on,
We
chat.
do. We have a lot of questions and comments in the chat. We have a fan shout out. So It's a Dime Piece said last night's show was epic. Loved it. And then,
Very cool.
Yes. And then from Mr. T. Waz, how do you separate the part of composing music for your solo career and Black Label Society?
Well, no, I think when we do the Book of Shadows records, it's just mellow stuff. You know what I mean? So I think that's the reason why when I do those records, you know what you're getting. It's just going to be nothing but like, you know, the mellow stuff. It's just you know, I mean, if you're in the car and you just want to listen to mellow stuff, you just want to chill out, that's the record you put on. But I remember before I did that Book of Shadows record, you know, because as much as I love listening to Zeppelin doing Black Dog, I love it when they do Going to California. And when Sabbath does Into the Void, I love it when they do Changes. So, you know, like I said, as much as I love Elton John, I love it when the Stones do Wild Horses, and then they do Street Fighting Man. So, I mean, I love I love both. So it's just, but I remember when I did that, you know, that Book of Shadows record, I remember when we were doing the Osmosis album, I remember I'd go over to Brews, this bar that was right next to the hotel we were staying in New York City. And I'd be in there till like 6 in the morning, just, you know, solving the problems of the world with everybody in there. But the jukebox was awesome. It had like the Stones, it had Bob Seger, Neil Young, Elton John, the Eagles, the band. It had all this awesome mellow stuff. So, I mean, I would just, you know, I think as all musicians, what you do is what you're listening to, you don't really realize it, but you're digesting it and you're being educated because you're hearing all this music that you love. So, and then I just go sit in my room and just, you know, because you get inspired and then you just start writing songs. So, but that's, you know, but those Book of Shadows records, as far as the differentiate it from the Black Label stuff and a Book of Shadows is just more than just full mellow stuff.
Awesome.
All right.
We have more
Yeah,
questions.
yeah.
Go ahead, bring it on, Kat, bring it!
Awesome. Everything Ends 9 wants to know, how did you first get into music?
Well, I mean, I think we used to do, I remember growing up in Jersey, I remember in Neptune, New Jersey, at my parents' house, we used to do these concerts down with a tennis racket. I remember, you know, down in the basement in front of everybody. So, I mean, that was always a good time. But no, I think it just, you know, it starts from there. And then, you know, I mean, as far as like I took guitar lessons when I was like about 8, but I didn't put the time in and I didn't stick with it. You know, I wasn't disciplined enough. I just wanted to hang out with my friends and, you know, play wiffle ball and play sports and stuff like that. So it wasn't until I was about 14 years old where I was just like, this is what I want to do with my life. You know, I was just mesmerized. I went over to because I played football and like Randy White, I had it all figured out when I was like, you know, before I went to high school. It was just like, I'm going to play professional football. I'm going to be a linebacker. And then I'm going to be in the broadcasting booth after that and everything like that. So I had this whole thing figured out. And I was going to go to like, University of Maryland because that's where Randy White went. So, or I was going to go to, you know, Ohio State or Penn State because that was basically linebacker university. So all the great linebackers pretty much came out of there. So, but Randy White came out of University of Maryland. So I had it all planned out. I was either going to go there or whatever. And then, so when I played Pop Warner, I was always a linebacker. So, but the thing is, when high school came around, you know, obviously there's no weight limit at that point. So they wanted to move me to safety or cornerback because I couldn't put the weight on. And I didn't know anything about female growth hormone at that point, you know, or extra scoop or two of Wheaties, you know. So, but anyways, the Suns, Mr. Wright, our football coach, we went over to the house. He was like going to talk to me about continue playing football. And I was like, yeah, but Mr. Wright, if I can't be Jack Lambert or Dick Butkus or anything like that, or Randy White, I don't want to play. So he was just like, well, you know, there was a guitar sitting in the room, a Les Paul, and he was, my mother was like, oh, Mr. Wright, do you play? He goes, I play some country songs. He goes, but my son Leroy's the one that really plays. So Leroy came out, and he was like 25 at the time. So it was like, you know, seeing him come out, and I think he was the first guy I ever saw that had like long hair, and he had like a Harley Davidson hat on. He came out, he just started playing Hendrix, Van Halen. Then at the time, I guess Ozzy had just started with Randy. So he was playing Crazy Train and just playing Zeppelin and Sabbath, and I was just mesmerized watching his hands. I guess, you know, seeing somebody doing sleight of hand or card tricks in front of you, I was just like blown away. It just looked like the most interesting thing in the world, just looking at the fretboard, like all the problems of the world can be solved on that thing. So I was just like, that's what I want to do with my life. So I studied with Leroy for about a year and a half, and he was an amazing teacher because he would teach me all the things I wanted to learn, but he would teach me theory and you know, like showing me how a trick's done, and you know, and just show me, you know, the theory behind the fretboard and everything like that. Whereas when you know, if you scatter all these car parts in front of me of an engine, you know, it's overwhelming. But then when you show me how things are put together, you know, little by little, then it breaks it down, and then it becomes, and then you start understanding. So, but he was amazing, Leroy Wright. But I studied with Leroy for a bit, and then for about a year and a half, and then, and you know, I just from there you take it from there, you know. So, but yeah, I think, you know, when I was 14 is when I said this is what I want to do with my life.
Well, you talk about how when you had like that linebacker vision, you kind of had like the plan and everything. Once you kind of switched and you were like felt that power of music inside of you, did your head start switching too? Did you
Well, yeah, I mean, I had the same dedication when I played sports, whether it was baseball and football and stuff like that. So, because I love the practices, I love two-a-days, I love the whole process. So it's not like, and the same thing with the music. Like I know a lot of people are just like, oh, I only like making the records. I don't like touring. I like touring. I can't stand making the records. I never understood that. I enjoy the whole process. Like I enjoy writing. I enjoy making the records and us being involved with the mixes, the artwork. You know, and I always tell kids, it's just like, Zach, do you have any advice for my daughter or my son or anything like that? They want to be in a band. I go, yeah. You want to do this? I go, who wants to have a crummy job? Whatever it is you love is what you should be doing. And that's the only way you're going to excel is if you're doing what comes naturally and what you love. So like, you know, and dedicate your whole life. Be like Jimmy Page. Just dedicate your whole existence to, like, his whole existence is Led Zeppelin. You know what I mean? And being the curator and the janitor and the custodian of its existence. And it's his whole life is that thing. So, you know, I mean, it only lived for 12 years, but his whole life to this day, every waking moment is surrounded around that, his love for that thing. So make your band your Led Zeppelin, and just everything should be surrounded around your band and your music. So whether, if you're not playing, it's your merchandise or your this or that or whatever, and you have a good time doing it.
Yeah, and it augments every part of it too. You spend
Without
the
a doubt.
time getting a better player, then you play better and you feel better when you play.
Surround yourself with people you love and that are great at what they do, and off you go.
Oh my gosh, yes. I'm sure we have more audience questions coming in.
We do. So another fan shout out, Guitar Freak 177 says, Zach, you're the reason why I'm playing guitar. I appreciate your content. And then we have, yes, these are great. And then we have a fan from Uruguay, Maxi Guinover, who wants to know, are you going to write an autobiography?
Well, we did the Bringing Metal to the Children, which is, I mean, that's pure comedy in there. But I mean, it's just, I think you ask any musician or anybody in a band, once you get in a van and you get out on the road with your friends and you start going, the comedy and the plethora of insane comedy that you're going to experience. It's just like road tripping with your friends and going, you're making these stories up. It's like, sadly, I'm not making up any of them, and I don't even need to embellish on any of them. So I mean, it's just like, but that's one of the joys of being in a band and having good times with your friends. So I mean, but Bringing Metal to the Children is just pretty much, and then the music business. If you're in the music business, the cast of characters that you're going to run into in this thing, it just, because there really is no rules. So that's what makes it, where you run into all the comedy. But, I mean, I'm sure at some point we'll write it, Bringing Metal to the Children 2. I could just add on. All I got to do is just get in the van and just, or, the submarine, and then we roll. There's always comedy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't drink anymore, but I do sniff glue and, eat paint chips, and the results are astoundingly the same. I wake up with my pants around my ankles, and the fellas are like, bro, you were hilarious last night. I don't remember any of it, but I mean, but it is less filling.
Another day hard at work.
Yeah, it's less filling, less caloric, I tell you that much. But yeah, the results are astoundingly the same, but
Oh my gosh, there you go. Oh, we've got more coming in.
We have one more. So an appropriate username, but from Zakk Wylde Girl. They want to know, how do you stay inspired?
No, it's weird. I think, there's a weird thing. I mean, it's just like, because, some people, it's not that you get writer's block or anything, but I know, like, people are just like, nah, I'm not, I just don't even feel like picking up the guitar or whatever, so it's just, they're just not inspired or whatever. I don't know. I think, sometimes you need a break from it or whatever, but I mean, for me, I don't know, I'm blessed. I mean, I've never, every day before we get up on stage, like I said, man, I thank God every day for this incredible, blessed life I have. So, because I'm doing what I love every day. So, and getting up on stage is the greatest. So I never, when I'm on stage, wish like, because when I'm home, I love being home with my wife and my kids and the dogs and everything like that. So, I mean, for me, that's the vacation, because I'm always touring all the time and I'm always working. But that's the reason why you have posters of Jimmy Page up on the wall and Randy Rhoads and Tony Iommi and Frank Marino and all your guys. So it's just, that's what you want to do with your life. So that's part of it. You know what I mean? So, but no, I mean, as far as being inspired all the time, no, it's just, it can come from anywhere. Just listening to other artists that you love and everything like that. And that inspires you, so it's, I've never been to the point where, well, I don't feel like playing or this and that or whatever, so no, I just always look forward to it, man.
Yeah, shout out to Zakk Wylde Girl. I saw that username earlier, peek behind the curtain here. We're trying to get Joe looking at the chat more while y'all send it in, which is very fun, but I saw that earlier. I saw that Zakk Wylde Girl will also be seeing you live on Saturday.
Very
so,
good.
This
Bring a
whole
puke
little
bucket
world,
with
yes.
you. Because if you don't use it, JD will be using it.
Yeah. All right, well, we are going to go to a quick ad break, but we're going to be right back with more questions with Zakk Wylde. Keep them coming in. We're going to be talking about great stuff. Stay tuned. Hello, and welcome back to Off the Record Live. We're here still with Zakk Wylde, and we're going to be talking about Doom Crew Inc., Black Label Society's new
Let's do
record.
it.
Yes, okay. So I want to kind of establish the setting for this record. When did you first start working on it? Does this predate COVID, or was this something that was kind of born out of COVID itself?
Well, I mean, like, obviously when the world shut down for everybody, it was just kind of like, all right, well, what are we doing? So, I mean, I was just, I was enjoying being home with my wife and the kids, because like we talked about it before, I'm probably doing close to 300 shows a year, whether it's, with, like you said, Black Label, rolling with the boss, with Ozzy, Generation Axe with the fellas, and then experience Hendrix, Zach Sabbath. I mean, you know, because I love doing it. I mean, so like when we're not doing one of them, we go out and do something else. So, so being home was fun, you know, because I told my wife, I go, have you ever slept with a professional dog walker? And she was like, no. I go, well, now's your chance. You know, so yeah, because I love walking the dogs. You know, I'd take the dogs for a walk around the property, you know, because so, anyways, ended up putting a box set together. So that was, you know, that was fun putting that together and then taking a trip down memory lane with that. So then we did that, did a couple videos for that thing, and then so we knocked that out, and then it was like, well, I guess maybe it's time to make another record or something like that. I was like, all right, great. So, you know, like we talked about before, I said, well, when are the guys coming out to the Vatican? She's like, oh, you got about a month. I go, all right, well then, like I said, I go, I got a month to make a record. So you just start writing, you know. So, and I mean, the way I always look at it when you're writing, it's just like, we're going out here and we're looking for like dinosaur bones, and we know within this 2-mile radius, we know they're out here. It's just a matter of us finding it. So like you can go over here, if we don't find anything, yeah, whatever, you know, we just start again tomorrow and then we'll look around. But they're out here. So I mean, you just keep writing until you get something you're happy with, you know what I mean, or something you like or whatever. So
Do you usually write much more than ends up on like the final record?
yeah, I ended up writing like 30 things. I mean, 30 songs. So we had, and the way I do it now, I mean, the way we did it back in the day with the Boss, with Oz, we'd end up writing it, you know, like let's say if it was something like No More Tears, and I remember when we were recording No More Tears, it was just, we'd be in a rehearsal room going over these songs over and over, and I'm like, we know the songs, let's just track them before we suck all the life out of these things, you know what I mean? So I'm just saying, when you're around other great musicians, everybody knows what they're doing. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I you know, I mean, like, perfect example, like when Sabbath, you know, back in the day when they did Paranoid, their second album, you know, everything was written. And then they went in the studio, it was rehearsed and written, so that you go in there, and I understand it because you want to save on studio time, so everybody knows what they're doing. You get in, bang it out, and get out. So because, you know, so you're not wasting money and time. But the whole thing is, it was like, guys, we need an extra song. Do you have anything? And it's like Tony on the spot just wrote, you know, the riff for Paranoid. And then the band kicked in, and it's like, oh, what's this section? Oh, this will be the intro. This will be the verse. Then we have a, you know, little re-intro, then another verse, and then we have a bridge, then a solo, then one last verse. And then once they figure out the arrangement, and then Oz, who's the king of the melody, I mean, would always, the first thing he would always sing was usually always it. So, I mean, I'm sure that when they did Paranoid, that was the first thing Oz came to his head. They sang that, and Geezer was like, all right, give me a couple minutes, let me write some lyrics. Geezer figured out what he wanted to write it about, wrote the lyrics to fit Ozzy's melody, and no rehearsals, no nothing. They just did it there, and it's a classic Sabbath track. So that's because when you're surrounded by other great guys that know how to play, everybody's just almost like telepathic. Everyone just knows what they're doing, you know? So, you know, I recorded the whole record just with me and a click track with Father Adam, our engineer, Adam Fuller. So, and I just wrote it, you know, like the whole song. And so when Jeff and JD came out, they just listened to the record and go, Jeff would just play air drums, you know, just go, Zachy, what part is this thing? I go, this is the intro, this will be then we'll all come in together right here, then it's gonna go up to here, here's the pre-chorus, here's the chorus, re-intro, then we'll go to a solo, or, you know, whatever the arrangement is. So Jeff would just listen to it a couple times, sitting right in here, just listening to it, and then play it air drums and go, all right, what's this section here? Oh, this is solo. Oh, okay, cool. Let me go in there and track. Jeff would just go in there and play it 2 or 3 times. Done. Next song. So, I mean, Jeff was probably done with the drums in about, he almost played on probably 30 songs in a week.
Wow.
You know, and then he was done. So then, you know, and that's that. So, I mean, pretty much how we do the record. Unlike, you know, we don't go into a rehearsal room and work on the songs and everything. And, you know, we save that for the tour. You know, when we're going to get ready to figure out what the set list is going to be and whatever, and then you save rehearsals for that. But when we're recording, you could just write something on the spot right now, and I just go, dude, let's track that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you just write something, knocking on heaven's door or whatever, I'm like, what's that? And you're like, oh, I just wrote it this morning. I'm like, let's record it. You know what I mean? And then the rest of the guys will just go, all right, we're 2 times around, and then I'll just come in with a drum fill, and yeah, no problem.
Wow, that's really incredible, especially listening to the record. I mean, one of the notes that I took away from it was that it's got to be such a testament to the musicianship, and not only as individuals, but also y'all's ability to play off each other. Because the arrangements, I mean, it's so intelligent and
Well, let's not push it. But anyway, that's a rather strong word to use around Black Label. Intelligent. Let's think of something else, less dopey maybe. All right, there you go.
There you go. There's some intention behind it. I mean, when you're listening to it, I mean, sometimes you can listen to a record and it sounds like a band and they're just playing the song. But I mean, on this, I think even one of the examples I wrote is the tune Ruins, and there's just like one part for like 8 bars, the bass does this like thing up the neck, and it's just like such a cool little counter melody, and it only happens once in that song, and just moments like that can really kind of like augment it and push the whole thing through to this next level of listeningship, where there are all these little like seeds and little pockets of really cool
I mean, well,
things
that's the
happening.
fun thing about making records. You know, that's what I said. Like how other people would be like, yeah, I don't like making the records. I always like touring or whatever. I mean, to me, making the records, when you're in here and you have all this, it's like you're Salvador Dali with a blank canvas. So anything you want to make, you can make. Wherever your imagination takes you, you can do it. So I mean, that's the beautiful thing about making records, man. You know, so yeah,
Well, I bet
you know.
that's got to be the extra beautiful thing about making a record at your home studio, where you can really kind of.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's fun doing it at the home studio. I mean, you know, we have everything spiked and everything like that. But I mean, like whenever we've made any of the records, whether it's with Ozzy or Black Label, we did Pride and Glory. I mean, the Book of Shadows records. You know, we're obviously at other studios before I had my home studio. I just, you know, when you're in here, it's just such a inspiring, creative environment. You know, because not only that, everything sounds great, and it's just like, you know, you start, and then you know you're gonna track something that's like where. The whole awesome thing about it is just like seeing this thing come to life. So, you know, this germ of an idea you have, and then it just starts coming to life, and then you're like, wow, this is awesome. So that's the beautiful thing about recording, and the power of music, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Well, Doom Crew Inc. I know that the record name itself comes from y'all's road crew, kind of like a tribute there.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was just the endearing term for the crew. You know, I mean, I think every band, you know, their crew is the Doom Crew. So it's just, you know, the first to bleed, the last to leave. And, you know, it doesn't matter how banged up we got the night before, you know, drinking or whatever, you know, just like they're running on like 20 minutes of sleep. And it's just like the job gets done. It just always gets done. So, yeah, they truly are the power behind the throne, without a doubt. So, you know, I mean, every band needs the crew, man. So, you know.
Yeah.
But that's why the Doom Crew Incorporated. So when we were doing a new record, it was just sitting there, and I was just thinking about that. I just go, why don't we just call the album, we'll just name it after the Doom Crew. So that's, yeah. Once again, an amazingly intelligent part.
Yes. The sophistication.
That's what I
the-
tell my, you know, my immortal beloved. I tell Barbara Ann that every day. When we wake up and I just look into her green eyes, her gorgeous green eyes, and she looks at me and I look at her and I go, "You're the lucky winner!" I tell her that every day. Yeah.
Wow, I got like a little like feeling of what it might be like. That
All
was
this
amazing.
intelligence, yeah. This is part of the package.
That's great. Wow. Well, I think we're going to go to an ad. Maybe we're not going to go to an ad. We're going to keep going. But we do have some fan questions coming in from chat. Catherine, hit us.
What do we got, Kath? Bring it on!
So ESPX 1973 says, I loved seeing you in Rockstar and in Bones. Any chance you'll ever do more acting?
Yeah, I mean, the acting thing, yeah, why not? I mean, I actually, every time I've done those things, I mean, I've had a blast doing them anyways. It's a lot of fun. So, yeah, I can definitely see him doing, you know, in between doing the dishes, the laundry, making my bed, and cleaning the dog run, if we could fit it in there anywhere. So, you know, yeah, no. I mean, any of my friends, any of my buddies ask me, like, Zakk, I need you to play this or that in a movie. It's just like, yeah, whatever you need me to do. So, yeah, no, like I said, it's a lot of fun.
So if you're watching at home and you're making a movie,
Just give me a shot.
yeah, let's do it.
Zakk, we have a perfect part for you. What is it? We need you to play a moron. All right, good, I'll do that.
Buck Owens acting.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Micro.
An intelligent moron, right? Just sprinkle that in there. Okay, good.
Microspoon74 wants to know, I'm a young guitarist in high school and I'm really interested in joining and making music, but have been struggling to find others my age who share this same interest. How should I approach this?
No, just keep looking, man. I mean, I was lucky that, I had my buddies that I went to school with. My buddy Tommy Carrick, John Kern, and my buddy Rich Diaz. We all went to school together, so we had this band called Stonehenge, and that was before the Spinal Tap movie. I remember, and it was Spinal Tap.
Stole my...
So yeah, I remember, playing kitchens. George Ketchum's kitchen. I remember we jammed in his kitchen. I was right near the pantry. Rich blew out the kitchen window with the bass because it was up on near the sink. Tommy's right next to the refrigerator. I remember we had a light show we built out of coffee cans. And I remember our buddy Frank Anton, his father was an electrician. And he saw this light show we built. He was like, "You clowns aren't using this thing, are you?" And we were like, "We've already done like 5 shows, like these keg parties with the show." We're like, "Why, Mr. Anthony?" He goes, "Anyone touches these lights will be zapped instantly, like electrocuted, dead on site." And we're just like, with all our drunk friends walking around with this friggin' light show. It was amazing nobody died at those things. But I mean, they probably died, just violently ill just listening to us play. But I mean, as far as being electrocuted, it was like, man, it was a shocking performance. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I remember we did this one show. This Bobby Bush, we called it the Demolition Derby Fest. Her parents, remember that movie Weird Science, where they all pull up to the house, because the parents are out of town. Where her parents had gone up to the Poconos and the house was sold. So all the furniture was out of the house. Everybody from Jackson Memorial High School was at this party, and the surrounding high schools, whether it was Freehold and Toms River, Lakewood. Everyone came to this party. All I remember, this house was absolutely demolished by the time we got done. So, I mean, now that you have a house and you're that's why you would never have a party like this in your house. No, never. But yeah, it was very ungood. But yeah. So, but no, I think just until you find some guys that, or girls or whatever band that you want to be in. And the cool people you dig hanging out with, and then just keep searching. You'll find them. Because there's other people out there that are like him, that are like-minded, that can't find anybody either. So, and especially nowadays, it's awesome with the internet. Mm-hmm. You can find people. We never had that. You had either a recycler, or you'd hear about people in the neighborhoods, or for me, being in Jackson, New Jersey, like you had Freehold, you had Toms River, Sayreville, like you'd hear, "Oh, I heard so-and-so, and there's a great drummer," or whatever, in the next neighborhood or something like that. So you just keep, I think with all bands, it's like that. So you'll find them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, with the internet now, too, you got Reddit threads. You can get on social media. You can find people on TikTok. You can use BandLab, and you can be in a band with people from all
you
other
can find
sides
everything
of the world.
nowadays. You want to get gonorrhea, you want to get herpes,
They got
you
all
can
new
find
STDs
whatever you need.
that they're making.
That's how I got the clap. I just went on the internet, Wonderful.
We have more questions from chat. We're giving great education here. This is becoming a seminar.
Awesome.
We do. So the Real MP9 wants to know, is there anything new for Wild Audio coming up that we can look forward to?
Yeah, we got a couple new guitars right now. Well, we got the Heathen. We're using that out on the road. It's like a double cutaway. Then we got another one coming out, the Thorax. Another one, the Raider, a Vulture, and the Condor. So, yeah, we got, I guess, 4 new ones coming out that are getting worked on right now. Actually the shapes are I already came up with the shapes, so they're being done. We do them like on a computer first, and then do a cutout on a piece of cardboard. So this way we can see the size of it, you know what I mean? Whether it's got to be smaller or bigger or whatever, so the size of it's right. And then after the cardboard cutout, then you go to the laser will just make the body. And then, out of a piece of wood, and we're like, man, this came out killer. So then, and then we'll know whether it needs to be bigger, small, or whatever. Then off it goes. So, yeah, but we got a couple of them coming out right now next. So I think we're getting the Thorax is coming out, and we'll use it on this, probably like the last 12 shows we'll have it. So it's we're shipping them out, 2 of them, one for Dario and one for me.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, so it's definitely cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Wow.
We have another fun one. So Real Patrick J wants to know, what's your favorite horror movie?
Well, I guess, well, The Exorcist. You got to go with The Exorcist. My kids love it too. You know.
The family-friendly one. Yes.
Yeah, you have to wait until they're at least 3 to show it to them.
Otherwise, they won't get it.
You don't want to
The plot will go right over their head.
traumatize them, man. You don't want, because then they're not going to want to have family night movies. They don't want to.
Oh my gosh.
Good parenting always comes first. All right, next question.
Awesome. Well, I think we're going to jump back into our main interview at this point. But
Do we have to? We have to. Okay, come on.
If you've got questions, you can keep them coming because we're
Stop
monitoring
the
it all.
suffering. All right, let's do this.
Yeah, here we go. I do want to ask, though, that you have been back out on the road recently. You hit the road early October was when the tour started, right?
Yeah.
How's that been?
Great. It's just, it's so weird. I mean, the last show that we did was at the rave in Milwaukee, with the Milwaukee chapter of the Almighty Black Label. But I remember that was the last show, and then we're like, I think we're all gonna. They're talking about shutting everything down, and we're like, really? And it was just like, yeah, but we'll probably be back out in about 3 weeks. That's what we all thought. And then next thing you know, here we are 2 years later almost. It was actually like 22 months or 23 months. We were at the rave again. And it was just, but it was weird, like I'm looking at you, you're looking at me, we're on stage, and it's like, it feels like we just did this. We went home for a month, and now we're back here. Like how it just flies. You know what I mean? I mean, No More Tears, I'm just celebrating 30 years on that one. I'm like, wow, 30 years ago. So I mean, it's just like, 30 years ago, I still have gonorrhea, syphilis, the clap, and herpes, and it's still here.
So I hope you've been taking notes.
Yes,
This is less.
but I mean, but yeah, it just time flies. So I mean, it didn't feel like it was 2 years ago. It was just weird. So no, but we've been having a great time. Like you said, we just rolled with the Nashville Berserkers last night, and it was a great time.
Yeah, so even being back on the road, you feel like you kind of like instantly got back into the rhythm of it and kind of the day-to-day go-to-go?
Well, I mean, when I was home, like right before the tours, I don't sit around the house walking around with a guitar. I'll sit and practice, you know what I mean? Or when you're writing or you're recording, you're sitting down. So like, I was like a week before the tour, 2 weeks before the tour, I start walking around practicing standing up. I mean, just to get acclimated with the guitar, standing up with the guitar again. So, but yeah, and then but just getting ready to start doing the shows again. So but it's been great. As soon as we started playing, it was awesome.
Oh, that's so cool. Wow. Well, another thing I want to ask you about is the first single for the new record, which is out right now, Set Me Free. What can you tell us about this tune, and also the really kind of fun music video that went along to it that was inspired by your prom, question mark?
Yes. Well, in regards to the song and the music, I just tell everybody it sounds exactly like every other Black Label song. It's exactly the same. Then I even changed it. I just changed some of the lyrics. I move around, and then we just put it out there. So So if you're thoroughly disappointed and disgusted by any of these songs, you'll continue. We're all about consistency.
Yes.
And you'll still be thoroughly disappointed and disgusted. So, but no, we put when we did the video for it, I told Justin Reek, I told he's been doing videos with us since like 2014. So he's like the Stanley Kubrick of Black Label. So I'm like, Father Justin, I just want to do a video that recreates my high school prom with bath salts, the band, guys getting their arms ripped off and beaten profusely with them, the whole 9 yards. So I thought he captured it pretty well.
Documentary almost.
Yes, it is.
Yes, point
From
blank.
Jackson
yes.
Memorial High School in 1985 at my
Very
prom.
realistic video. If y'all want to go down a walk down memory lane for that time period, it's all
And it was
there.
just as painful then as it
It was-
is now. Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's so great.
Wow. Well, I do want to ask about, we got a few minutes, and so I'm going to dive into this. One thing that's great about that song is it's a great example of the dueling guitar stuff that you all have really been leaning into in this kind of current phase of the band. What can you tell us about putting together kind of the dueling guitar thing, even down to this song? It kind of starts with y'all are doing like a harmonized thing, and then it breaks into like back and forth solos. But even what's it like arranging those harmony
Well, no, I mean,
parts?
with Dario, ever since Dario's an amazing player. He plays, guitar, he plays piano, he sings, he does dishes, laundry. He makes an amazing chicken piccata. He prefers using capers as opposed to salt. That's one of his secrets. But the whole thing is, No, I think it's just a natural progression where we're at right now. It's just like, because Dario would always be playing, you know, obviously when I'm playing the piano, Dario's doing all the solos. And then as far as like, I'd always have Dario either just getting more involved, you know, having a good time at the party. Or like, you know, Dario, why don't you double this on the solo in Suicide Messiah or Stillborn, or, you know, like some of the older songs. So, and, you know, like I said, Dario's an amazing player. So I think it's just a natural progression on this record. I was just like, it'll be cool. So it's more like in the vein of like, you know, with the Allman Brothers or Thin Lizzy or Judas Priest, where we have parts where you need two guys to do them. You know, so whether you're putting harmonies and stuff like that. So you need two guys to do it. So, but aside of trading off solos, but and doing banjos and everything like that. But you know, it's but it's great. I mean, because we've been doing it, so it's just moved pretty much from the live show to the new record. So.
Oh yeah, that's awesome! Wow. Well, I have one more question for you, but I will also say if we have any final chat questions, Catherine, our moderator, we want to
Bring it on, Kath!
one last time, one for the road.
Okay, so one last question. Maestro1618 says, what's your biggest guilty pleasure song that you listen to?
Like, I don't know, what is a guilty pleasure? I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, if you like something, you like it. You know what I mean? It's just like saying my guilty pleasure is eating pizza. It's like, how's that a guilty pleasure? Pizza's awesome, you know? So, no, I mean, like, but I listen to everything. I love Crowded House. I love the Bee Gees. I love yacht rock.
Oh yeah.
I love listening to Joe Pass or Pat Martino, these legendary jazz guitar players. So, and I love all my staples that I've always loved that, you know, I think we all love your bands that you remember when you were 14 years old. That's like your, you know, this brings back great memories, you know, whether it's Zeppelin and Sabbath and the Allman Brothers and Skinner, The Who, you know, classic rock, you know, Bad Company, I mean, everything like that. So, you know, Mahogany Rush and Frank Marino and Hendrix, Robin Trower. I mean, I still listen to all my old staples, but I also listen to, like, you know, everything that's not rock music, you know what I mean? So, yeah, Christopher Cross, I mean, anything. I mean, yacht rock, I love it. Yeah, without a doubt. I love it. I'm a yacht rock junkie, man. I love it.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, all that stuff. I was singer, songwriter, radio, or whatever. I listen to everything, man.
Oh, right on. Well, you got the record coming out on November 26th. You're on tour now. One last quick question, which is, how do you feel? What's the future look like
Please
for
get
you?
it over with. What do you got?
That's the question. How do you feel? What's the future look like for you?
After this interview, no, seriously, no, I feel great, man. I'm ready. I'm ready for some more, you know, some more Black Label Jazzercise on stage. You know, for the next one. I think we're rolling. We'll be with the Philadelphia chapter after this one. So, no, I'm just looking forward to it. You know.
And you at home could be getting Black Label Jazz fit at the show if you go.
Yes,
Rest
that's what it's all about, man. But
That's right.
yeah, sex sells. That's what we know that. At least we know that part.
So go buy some
Wait,
sex.
maybe that's why no one's showing up. All right. So anyways,
There you go. Well, Zakk Wylde, thank you so much for stopping by
thanks a
and
lot for
speaking
having
with
me,
us
my brother.
today.
Cheers,
It's been a
buddy.
blast. Thanks to Starstruck Entertainment for hosting us in the brick and mortars. Thanks to Twitch and American Songwriter for hosting us digitally. And thanks to all of you at home for watching and for commenting in the chat. Thank you so much. Keep subscribing. Keep coming back. We're going to be doing more of these. There's one on Thursday. It's going to be fun. I love you all. Good night.
after this interview, they may have canceled this subscription.
Bye-bye.